All right, and my third guest at this time, she is currently the NWA Women's Champion, and may I say she is the most busiest female wrestler I can ever recall. Uh, I am joined with Kacee Carlisle, the champion herself. What's going on, Kacee?
Hey, Kenny. What's going on with you? How are you?
I'm doing real good. Thank you for being a part of the show. Like I said, you've been on the show like 3 times now.
I can't believe it's already 3 times. I thought it was twice. I lost the third one, but now that you mention that, you're right.
Yeah, it's 3 times.
Well, congrats on the 2-year anniversary. That's awesome.
And it definitely is, and I appreciate you for being on 2 of the 3 times you've been champion, the current NWA Women's Champion. How are you feeling about your title reign thus far? You went through a lot of comers, and here you are standing here on the line, still champion. How do you feel about your reign thus far?
Still champion. I'm extremely proud to hold that title. And I'm proud that I'm proud to hold it today. It's obviously, it's the highlight of my career thus far is holding the NWA Women's title. And I'm looking forward to my next defense, which currently the next defense I have is scheduled to be May 17th at NWA Houston, and I'll be defending the title against Barbie Hayes that night. So, not only is that going to be my NWA Houston debut, but it'll be my first match with Barbie, and as of right now, it's my next scheduled title defense. So I'm really looking forward to that night.
Considering that this is your next title defense, and I'm sure you are familiar with her work, you're a lot bigger than her, but she's someone that not to take her for granted or anything. How do you feel about the match you have for Barbie coming up?
I'm excited for it. I certainly, obviously she's a very tough girl. She's the #1 contender for a reason. That doesn't happen by accident. So I can't take anything away from her. I'm going to be studying her. I'm definitely going to be doing my homework, and she's absolutely a tough competitor, but at the same time, she's not the current champion, and if everything goes according to what I have planned and everything I have tucked up my sleeve, then that fact is going to be remaining true at the end of the night on May 17th. She's tough, and I'm sure she's a great competitor, and I'll find that out in the ring that night. But she's also not Kacee Carlisle, so that has to be said and remembered at the same time.
I also hear that you're getting international now. You're going to be wrestling in Canada soon.
I'm going to be wrestling in Canada the first weekend of June. It's going to be for NWX up in Canada. It's in Ontario, and I don't know the exact location right now, but currently I am scheduled to be up there the first weekend, both June 1st and 2nd. I'm doing 2 shows up there that weekend. So, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. I've wanted to get up there for several years now, and it's finally crossing my fingers. It's finally going to happen, so I'm very much looking forward to that.
Is this the first time you've ever wrestled outside the United States?
It will be, yes. Mhm.
I mean, obviously, the previous interviews we have had, you've have always wanted to compete outside the U.S. to expand yourself, especially now that you are the NWA Women's Champion. I mean,
right.
So how do you feel about this opportunity to show a different country what Kacee Carlisle is all about?
I'm excited by every opportunity I'm given. You have to be, and I think if you're not, then there's a problem, and it's time to reevaluate. I'm so lucky to have the opportunity. I'm so lucky that there is an interest there on their end, and I'm interested to, I'm excited that it's something that I'll have the chance to do. The last few years I've really been trying to, spread my wings, if you would, a little bit, and just try to get into new areas. Obviously, I'm very much known as being in the Mid-Atlantic, East Coast area. That's where I'm based out of. But I've been making a very conscious effort to try to get into new areas. I really, I just want to, explore. There's so many girls out there that I haven't had the chance to work with. There are so many fans out there who, who I know appreciate wrestling and who want to see it. So I've been trying to kind of broaden my horizons in that respect and get to as many new places as I can. So, this will be my first time up in Canada, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a blast.
Like I said when I introduced you, you are, I think in my opinion, the busiest female wrestler, at least here in America. Because every time I look at your schedule on your website, you are booked. You got a match like every either 2 to 3 shows per weekend. I mean, obviously you've had this schedule before you was champion, NWA Women's Champion, but you being a wrestler, I mean, how does that feel? When you got companies from not just America, now in Canada, they look at your work and they say, "Wow, she should be on our show. We need Kacee Carlisle on our shows and stuff." How does that feel for you?
It's an honor. It's to be honest with you, I'm really humbled by it, and I'm really flattered by it. I work extremely hard to be as good as I can be. I always compare myself to myself before anybody else. And I do try very hard to constantly, continue to improve and stay at the top of my game. So anytime I'm ever contacted by anybody who's interested in bringing me in and booking one of their shows, I'm completely appreciative. I'm completely humbled by it because, I know that they don't have to. I know that there's other girls that they could use that are maybe more local to them, that maybe their fan base is already familiar with. So if they're looking at me, I'm extremely appreciative, and I'm excited for the opportunity, and, I'm grateful for every single one that I can.
Now, this is a question I've always wanted to ask you. I know you are familiar with the whole custom wrestling industry, when fans book their matches and you being in matches against other female wrestlers. Have you ever been contacted by any of the of a custom wrestling to be a part of their company so forth?
I have. I've actually been contacted by several of them, and I have turned down every single one of them. Customs for me is not something that I am interested in doing. It's just, not my cup of tea. I just don't have an interest in doing that. I'm much more of a traditional girl in that respect. And I'm certainly not knocking them or anybody who chooses to do that. That's their prerogative, and to each their own. But for me personally, I'm somebody, you're going to see me working on shows, your indie shows. I'm just not, it's just not something for me. There's nothing, here nor there about it. It's just not something that I have an interest in doing at this point in time.
That is fair, and that's respectful. And even if you were you have a busy schedule, so you won't have a time for an opportunity like that anyway. So
that's true. It's hard to my free time is limited, so it is hard to find any time to squeeze anything else into. But that's me being lucky again in that respect, that I am able to stay so busy.
So I'm here on your website. You have a like a spring sale as it pertains to autographs, photos. Talk a little bit about that.
I currently am going to be running it for so. I just figured, hey, it's spring, let's celebrate. So I have a sale currently going on, as you said, via my website. I'm offering any 3 of my 8x10 photos and any 1 of my 4x6 photos for $20. So it's a total of 4 photos for $20. And the photos are all available on the website, showing you what's available. And there's the cute little PayPal button there for people to use their PayPal to make the purchase. And obviously the photos would be autographed, or not. Some people don't want them autographed and they just want the photos, and that's fine too. So I definitely encourage everybody to check that out. Like I said, I'll be running it for about another week and a half or so. It's not a permanent thing, so it is limited time, and I encourage everyone to check it out and get your orders in, and I get those out to everybody as quickly as I can. So, usually about a week and a half maybe, depending on how busy I am, but I will get them out to you as quickly as possible.
Well, right now you just have photos at the moment. Are we gonna be expecting a Kacee Carlisle T-shirt in the future?
Yes, you are. It's taking me forever to get these shirts made, but yes, absolutely, definitely, 100%. That is the next item that I'm going to be releasing for sale. There will be T-shirts available. I am planning on getting, you know, uh, a variety of different. It's one design, but the design will be available in different colors. So that's next on my list. And then after that, you know, I have a ton of ideas in my head. It's just a matter of you know, getting them done and just kind of making everything come together and happen. But DVDs are definitely on my list. You know, a compilation of my matches from over the years. There's a lot of stuff that you know, I'm working towards and that I'm gearing towards. But T-shirts will be the next thing, I promise, and they shouldn't be too much further out in the future.
That is awesome. Again, everyone can check it out. KaceeCarlisle.com for the spring sale. When it comes to the photos, definitely check out her calendar because, like I said, she's pretty damn busy. And she check out her calendar. She may be coming to a city or arena near you. Now, I noticed, like last week or so, actually 2 weeks ago, the wrestling world lost David Flair, and I read on your Facebook.
Reed Flair.
Yeah, Reed Flair. Yeah, Reed Flair. He passed away a couple of weeks ago, and I read one of your posts. You've actually had a chance to work with him once. Two-part question: what's your reaction to the news, and what was it like working with him?
My reaction was sadness. It was complete sadness. That's, you know, that's my reaction whenever we lose anybody. You know, that's never something that I want to see, whether it be in the wrestling world or whether it be outside of the ring. Especially when it's somebody who is as young as Reed was. You know, he was so incredibly young. It's sad. I really have no other words for it. It's just something that really, you know, when I heard the news, and I read it online, I believe, you know, it's just one of those things where I just sit there and I was like, wow, you know, that stunned silence for a minute. And as you said, I did, you know, I did have a chance to work with him on a show in North Carolina last year. There's a faction in North Carolina I'm a member of called the Old School Mafia, and one of the guys, Lewis Moore, was working Reed that night, and I was out ringside with Lewis during his match with Reed. And, you know, Reed, he was quiet. You know, he was quiet, but, you know, he was polite. He was professional. They had a good match that night. You know, we even did a spot during the match where Reed kissed me when I hopped up on the apron, and he ended up planting a big old fat one on me. You know, it was just and that was the one and only time I ever met him. But I had absolutely no negative impressions of him after that. I had nothing bad to say about him. He was just a quiet, nice, professional guy, and you know, it's sad. It's just a really sad situation, and I don't even want to pretend to understand, you know, what his family is going through. I'm sure it's incredibly, I can't even do it justice with words how hard it must be for them.
It was definitely devastating. I haven't, as a fan, I haven't heard from him since, you know, his days in WCW, but I have heard that he has been on the indie scenes, and I don't know if he had any intentions of getting back to the big league someday, but it would have been interesting to see, you know, considering, you know, he's the son of a legend. He definitely impressed me in WCW days, and he started at a young age, and he passed away at 25 years old. I mean, that's, oh my goodness,
mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling.
Yes, so our thoughts and prayers most definitely go out to the Flair family. I mean, it's never good to lose someone, especially in Flair's case. It's never good to lose a son, a child. I mean, that's his child. So definitely thoughts and prayers goes out to him. Kacee, before I let you go, my last question for you is, let me just say this, and I know I've said this several times, but you are one of the nicest people in the wrestling business. You're humbling. You're a sweetheart. And, you know, in the wrestling industry, it's definitely can be cold-blooded at times. You know, I know you have dealt with people like that, but you definitely keep your head up and everything, and you go out there and perform the best of your ability. And I feel like the wrestling industry, whether it's indie, whether it's pros, that can need. And I'm just saying, I'm not saying this because you're here. I'm just saying this from the heart. Like, we can need more Kacee Carlisles as far as professional, as someone that just, you know, that admires this business. You know, if we have more Kacee Carlisles as far as professionalism and wrestling, of course, things would definitely look, wrestling industry would look pretty good. And I hope you make the big leagues someday, because you definitely deserve a spot.
That really does mean a lot to me. I can't tell you how much it does. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
Well, Kacee, it was great talking to you as always, and I'm you know, considering you've now been on the show 3 years in a row, even though technically it's our 2-year anniversary. We should do this again.
Absolutely, anytime. You know, I'm always more than happy to come on your show. I very much enjoy it every time.
Hey, I enjoyed it as well. Yeah, thank you for your time. Best of success as always. Good luck in your title defense against Barbie, and you have a good night.
Thank you so much, Kenny. Thanks for having me on, and I'll talk to you soon. Have a great night.
You too.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. That was the NWA Women's Champion, Kacee Carlisle, joining me here